Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Nate. I also go by Hockey Boy Nate, and today we're going to be discussing the future for severe weather as well as just general weather. It's kind of an overall type forecast for you all for weather, whether it's severe weather, whether it's climate, whether it's, what happens in the future. I guess that's the best way to describe it. But first things first, please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below, as well as subscribe if you're new. Turn on notifications, as we do videos just like this one every single morning. I apologize because this one's a little bit late, but then again, I'm hoping you guys can understand that I did enjoy sleeping in a little bit because I've been super tired over the past couple of days with the amount of work that we've been doing with our live streams. But we do videos every single morning, and then we do live streams on severe weather events. I will have to mention that I will be just making videos from the time frame of Monday morning all the way through until Saturday morning, and for next Saturday. So just for you all who are curious what that time frame is, I will only be making videos from the 21st of March all the way up until the 27th of March. I cannot live stream in that time frame because I will be down in Daytona. Unless if we get some severe weather down there, and that's the thing, we could potentially get some severe weather in those areas. I might be able to storm chase, so we'll have to see. But that's just a warning for any of you who are expecting me to live stream any of these events. If they do turn out to be the typical severe events that I live stream, that I will not be available to do so. But as of right now, if we take a look at the Storm Prediction Center's webpage, they don't foresee any severe weather anytime soon. I mean, look at this. From Friday into Saturday and Sunday, no severe whatsoever. They do have a little risk of fire here on Saturday. So on Saturday, there's actually an elevated fire risk into central parts of New Mexico down into southeastern parts of Colorado. I know that place isn't really all too populated. I mean, except for, places in central New Mexico like Albuquerque. So if you live in those areas, just realize that you guys could have the general risk for, oh geez. Now I can't think of the word. Tells you how real tired I am. Wildfires tells you the chance you guys have. It's elevated, so it's a 1 out of 3. Actually, it's not even really a 1 out of 3. It's just, you guys have a lot of gusty winds down there. It's a lot of dry, warm conditions. So if you live in these areas, stay on alert. Be prepared to evacuate if there are any wildfires that get out of hand. But nothing for severe weather. Doesn't look like it. I'll go over to the convective outlook. You can see here's day 1. General thunderstorm risk for places in the northern Rocky Mountains. Also for the Outer Banks. And always Florida. Florida always gets some sort of rain. And then general thunderstorm heading more into the Rocky Mountains as well. And the same thing happens, except now it's the southern Rocky Mountains into the Central Plains. And this could be the next setup for the next batch of severe weather. Doesn't look like to be as bad as what we've been getting over the past week. But then again, we still have to keep an eye on it and see if the models fluctuate, to see if it intensifies or even weakens still. So still a little bit of time with that. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the models here. We'll take a look at the GFS first. And I just want to say real quickly, I'm going to be using 2 models today. So the GFS I typically use mainly because it's up to date with weather patterns. It's really good at them actually, mainly because with other models, it takes in satellite analysis. So it takes a satellite and it looks down at what's happening right now and makes a prediction off of that. What the GFS does is it takes that satellite and it also takes live analysis from like the National Weather Service offices in cities and all sorts of stuff across the continent. And it makes a prediction off of that. So it's a bit more precise with its predictions. So we'll be using the GFS, but we're also going to be using the Euro model to make our prediction here today. All right, so we're starting out with the GFS. We have our system that moved on through that caused a tornado outbreak in central Mississippi and Alabama, as well as a severe weather event that passed through North Carolina. I'm pretty sure there was a couple of tornadoes that spawned off of there, but none of them went confirmed. Although I did see a tornado near Burlington, according to social media. So if you guys live over in that vicinity, I hope you guys are all right. If you guys want to look back at my coverage for that, my live stream is up there. It was posted yesterday. We used live stream for about 7 hours. So if you want to see that, just skim on through. You'll be able to find it within that live stream. Which, by the way, real quickly, I know I'm kind of choppy with this video, but I just want to tell you all, to all the people who came out to our live streams from Wednesday all the way up to yesterday, I just want to tell you guys are amazing, and we wouldn't be making these videos and these live streams without you all. So the fact that we had 1,400 and some odd people come out to the live stream, I think it was 1,475 on the dot on Wednesday, that was absolutely spectacular. So thank you all so much. We also had almost 60,000 people tune into the stream. So once again, thank you all so much. So yeah, that the low pressure system with all the thunderstorms now move off the coast, as we kind of figured. There's now a general risk for thunderstorms, even snow in the Rockies. It's typically cold up there, so would not be surprised if that will continue to hamper places like the Rockies. Actually, it wouldn't even really hamper, because there's a plethora of amounts of ski resorts over there, and I'm pretty sure they would enjoy it. Unless if they kind of don't want to work there anymore, then I feel their pain. But here's the next batch of storms that I was talking about. This is Monday, and that just goes to show you, over the time period from today all the way up until Sunday, nothing happens except for those snow showers in the U.S. I mean, you get general thunderstorms that happen in the southeast, but other than that, nothing really happens until Monday morning, and this is when the next batch of thunderstorms can move on through. You can get your low pressure right here, and so your low pressure will tend to be surrounded by severe storms, especially down to the south and east of it. So your low pressure moves on through, and then you can see this cold front kind of develop down back here, and you can see your thunderstorms develop out in front. This is where you can get your severe storms that could be tornadic and stuff like that. Your warm sector actually goes all the way up into the Ohio River Valley, which means that areas all across from the Ohio River Valley all the way up into the north and east, you guys can get a warm up. Especially in the Northeast, you guys are, I'm pretty sure you're tired of the fact that you have temperatures under freezing for the past week, maybe a week and a half, maybe even, because you guys had a little bit of a warm up. I think it was like a week and a half ago, something like that, maybe a week. I'm pretty sure you guys are tired of the cold conditions now, so that'll be moving out soon. Your cold air will be replaced with 50s or 40s or 50s, maybe even 60s in some spots. So just be on the lookout for that. The comfortable temperatures are on their way. But the low pressure system continues to move on through. Then it ejects through into places like Illinois, and you can see some more severe storms into the heart of the mid-Atlantic. With some other thunderstorms, general thunderstorms that could form in Texas as well. This would be on Tuesday evening, so that's when your thunderstorms move on through the mid-Atlantic and Texas, although Texas will be more likely just a hail threat more than a tornado threat, because there isn't really a lot of wind shear or veering wind shear there to create tornadoes and stuff like that. So yep, severe threat moves to mid-Atlantic. There's also some more severe storms that move on through into places like Alabama and Georgia. This is Tuesday evening, like late overnight hours into Wednesday morning. And then you'll have your second batch of storms, which is the reason why I said I could possibly chase. This will be happening Thursday evening when a new low pressure system comes around, and you have this large batch of thunderstorms for the deep south again. I said I'd be in Daytona for this event, and so I might be able to chase this at its peak, so that'd be pretty interesting to say the least. But more thunderstorms pass on through, and that there is the opportunity for severe weather into places like Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, all the way up into places like the Carolinas and maybe even Virginia. But I wouldn't expect a lot of severe storms to be up in the Carolinas, honestly. Seems how the stronger areas of wind shear as well as energy is more or less located around the Georgia and Florida areas. Let's take a look at the Euro model, see if it says the exact same thing, because we always would like a second opinion to be able to tell us, you know, if we're right or not. I kind of like to confirm if the other one is right. So we'll take a look at the Euro model, and it says here, no severe weather so far. Nothing all the way. This is Sunday evening. Still nothing. Oh, there's our low pressure system. This is Monday morning. So, well, Monday afternoon, actually. So this tells us right here that our low pressure system will develop. You'll have your cold front that will lag out here, and you'll have some thunderstorms that'll develop into places like eastern Texas, well, actually much of Louisiana, into places like Arkansas. So you could expect a severe weather event to happen around you guys. So Dallas, Fort Worth, as well as places like Austin and San Antonio, maybe even Houston. Maybe Houston. It doesn't exactly seem to reach up to Houston by the time it ends, but you know, anywhere from Dallas, Fort Worth, all the way down south into San Antonio, you guys could easily see some severe storms from the system on Monday evening. And then as this continues to move on through, the low pressure does the exact same thing that the GFS did, move up north. This does create a bit of snow for the northern plains, I will say. So if you live in the northern plains, you guys do have the opportunity of getting some snow showers, maybe even some isolated precip. So places north of Minneapolis, all the way up into the Dakotas and even Nebraska, you guys could see some things. And then you can also see that you have your severe storms that happen in Texas, like the GFS said, down into places like Tuesday afternoon, well, not Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday overnight hours into Wednesday morning. These would be scattered storms that'll continue to linger, and then they could potentially push off on Thursday as well as Friday. So Thursday, this is a bit later on in the model for the Euro, and that it actually has a giant line of thunderstorms that push off. So instead of it just being like the southern parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, as well as Florida, it now includes basically the Ohio River Valley all the way down to the deep south. So that's something to keep in mind too, that the Euro towards the end of the model for next week has a line of thunderstorms moving through, and the GFS has the low pressure localized in the deep south. So the one thing we can confirm is that this area down here in Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida, maybe South Carolina, you guys will get severe storms later on in the week next week. I did mention that there was the temperatures were going to start to rise, and we're going to take a look at the GFS about this because it's the beginning of the GFS, the beginning of the Euro is practically the same, so it's just a matter of bias, and my bias leads to the GFS because of the reasons that I mentioned before. But you can see right here in the color contours, I'll actually zoom this in a little bit. There we go. I think that's a whole lot better. Kind of. Oh well. So anyways, we can see that's starting to get into Friday afternoon, and you still have cold temperatures up in the north. You can see the color code down here that some of these temperatures are into like the 30s and 40s in the northeast, but if you take a look down in the south, it's still relatively warm, 50s and 60s, maybe 70s in places like southern Florida. The desert obviously is going to continue to do the desert things over in Arizona and California, but you guys still have some cool temperatures over there at around the 30s and 40s. So your chances for snow is looking likely as this heads closer and closer towards your general vicinity. So this is Saturday evening. The temperatures are starting to rise for the Mid-Atlantic, starting to rise for the Northeast. Temperatures are quite cold for places like the Rockies. So there could be some more instances of snow for your general vicinity, but there are temperatures from the 50s and 60s that reach up to the northern plains. So if you live anywhere from the northern plains down to the southern plains and east, you guys are going to be experiencing some comfortable conditions for the next couple of days, which is something that we all need. So we need kind of like this relaxing day, you know, to kind of chill out and, you know, just regather our thoughts a bit, especially after what's been happening with the weather lately. So that is the good news for all of you. But then we head into Sunday morning, and you can start to see these are the lows, and there's the highs. Look at this. High temperatures starting to climb in the north and east. This is what I mentioned, that there could be a potential warm up for much of these areas. There's still some areas in the Appalachians and around the 50s, but there are some areas that are around the 60s. So that's something to keep in mind too, as well as the southern plains. You can take a look and see that some of these are indicated in these oranges, which indicate 70s to 80s, maybe even 90s in some spots. But that would be more localized around places like Mexico. So something to keep in mind with that. And then as we continue to move on through, here's the lows for the evening. Lows can get to below freezing in some spots. But then here's the highs on Monday again. And the northeast stays the same. Still stays relatively warm. This is Monday afternoon though, so you can get your warm temperatures. It would be a relatively moist down into the deep south, like Oklahoma and Texas, maybe even Arkansas, Louisiana. We're seeing some temperatures in upwards of the upper 70s into the 80s, into places of near like Abilene and stuff like that. So that could be really interesting for severe weather if that actually kicks off. But moving on through, you can see the low pressure actually spikes some temperatures down into like the Carolinas. So the mid-Atlantic, I might actually see warmer temperatures than 60 degrees in some spots. And that is something to keep in mind too. And same with the Northeast. The Northeast also sees some temperatures that can get above 50 and 60. So that warm-up still stays the same. The cold air still stays the same over in the Rockies. So if you live over there, your times at the ski slopes may stay the same compared to places like the East. I already know that some of the ski resorts over in the North and East, they have planned to close on Sunday the 21st. That'll be their last day. So if you live up in the North and East, your time for skiing is limited. But if you live over in the Rockies, not really. That is something to keep in mind with all that. But then, as this continues to move on through, the warm temperatures continue to move up, and you can see some areas in Florida that start to reach above the 80 mark and even into the 90 mark. So some still warm and hot over in Florida, the Sunshine State, still shining brightly as the warm temperatures continue to move on through in your general vicinity. All right, I'm trying to think as to what else I want to talk about, but I think that's practically it. There is actually one thing that I want to talk about, which is the wind shear for the event on Monday. So we're going to take a look at the 500 millibar wind shear. This is basically, there's weather streams, there's wind streams all throughout the continent, all throughout, actually not just the continent, all throughout the globe. So all on Earth, there's these winds that vary in strength and speed as well as height. So it could be higher up in the atmosphere, it could be lower up in the atmosphere. So right now we're looking at the winds at around 6 kilometers, give or take. It depends because with 500 millibars, it's a pressure. So it depends upon what the pressure is at the ground to determine as to how high up it is in the sky. But just remember, it's around 6 kilometers up in the sky. So here's the low pressure system that was moving on through the Carolinas yesterday. You can see I brought some strong wind shear, and that is now pushing off into the coast, off the coast actually. And now we have this giant ridge developing. This is where a high pressure could set in and bring us, that is not a H. There we go, that is an H. So we can see some warm temperatures start to build up into much of the US. I mean, the North and East, you guys have been looking for a warm-up for quite some time, and so now we have a giant ridge here that will actually provide you all some warm temperatures, which is great. That's exactly what we want to see. But then you can see with every ridge comes a giant dip in this stream, or the jet stream as we like to call it. And this is what we like to call a trough. So you have your ridges, which develop high pressure systems. The opposite of a high is a low. And in this case, with troughs, you can anticipate that with this trough, we can see a low pressure. And so this is Sunday morning. It's not exactly developed yet, but once we finish off the trough, you can see that there is a new low pressure system that develops. So your jet stream connects here, and that your low pressure system at the bottom of this giant dip is where it would be. So that's your severe weather for Oklahoma and Texas. You also have another area of your jet stream. This is a different jet stream. This one doesn't actually well, it has a name, but I don't exactly remember what that is. But this right here, this jet stream down here actually is called the subtropical jet. So your subtropical jet actually goes a bit further north than where it actually is supposed to. And it's a bit stronger, which is the reason why you can also see some severe storms into places like Oklahoma and Texas. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some gusty winds from this event. I'm not sure what the energy is because we are relatively far out in this model. It's about 5 days, 4 or 5 days. So I would just anticipate gusty winds, larger amounts of hail could be possible. You might even see the chance of a tornado or two, but based off of the energy, and actually I'll take a look at the energy based off of what the GFS says for laughs. And so into Monday, there is not a lot of energy. You would typically want around 750 joules per kilogram of CAPE, or convective available potential energy. If you don't know what CAPE is, it's basically the measure of the buoyant force in the atmosphere to where warm air would rise and cold air would fall. So the bigger displacement between those two characteristics would indicate in higher CAPE numbers. And so you would typically want around 750 to 2,000 joules per kilogram, which joules per kilogram is a measure of energy. It's kind of similar to like Fahrenheit and how it measures temperature. It's similar to inches and distance. It's just its own measure, if you know what I mean. So 750 to 2,000 joules per kilogram is what you would want, and it's right around that. It's right around 750, maybe less in some spots. But as I mentioned, this is a bit far out, so we can't exactly say how much energy this event will have. But for right now, I'm calling gusty winds and maybe some spotty hail in some areas. So anyways, that's going to be it for me. If you guys like the video, please be sure to leave a like. Smart Nathan. If you also do want to stick around for more videos just like this, please be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We do videos just like this every single morning, as well as live streams for events, except for the 21st to the 27th, because as I mentioned, we'll be in Daytona. But if we do have that severe weather that impacts us later on in the week, next week around Thursday, then we could potentially live stream a storm chase. So who knows? We might be able to get something there. But yep, share this with friends and family and on social media, as well as if you want to join my Discord server, link is in the description down below. If you also want to follow me on Twitch, where I play video games whenever we don't do weather live streams, so if you want to get to know me, link in the description down below as well. Please give me a follow. Yeah, that's enough of shameless plugging. My goodness, too much stuff for me to tell you all about my personal life. Get on with the weather, Nathan. Anyways, that's gonna be it for me. My name's Nate. I also go by Hockey Boy Nate. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.